What's poppin', gamers? So the general story of Underlords is that Momma Eeb got killed, and Whitespire is at war and needs someone new to run it. But before we dig more into Momma Eeb and the new characters, the Underlords, what is Whitespire exactly? While information is scarce, we do already know a little bit about it from Dota 2 and Artifact. The key heroes here are two heroes who aren't even in Underlords, Mireska the Dark Willow and Meepo. From Dota 2 we know that Dark Willow is the daughter of a merchant king. The keyword is merchant king because in the nation Revtel there's three: Lord Sumbreeze, who is Dark Willow's father, the Brass Herald of Ironfog, and Quertheus of Psalm. Three societies and merchant kings, all known for being shady in each their way. Okay, but so, like I said, the information about the particular place Whitespire has been up until now very limited. It's only mentioned in Meepo's artifact lore and some voice lines in Dota 2, so it was a little bit difficult to tie Underlords into the Dotaverse and place it. But then, I took another look at the Revtel signet ring. 3 nations collectively make up the merchant kingdom of Revtel, and while each of the merchant kings is recognized as sovereign within their own lands, in the Revtel capital, each are equal. This made me aware of a new clue that would lead me to my conclusion. I'm possibly wrong, but I'm 100% convinced this capital is Whitespire. Because the Revtel signet ring says that each are equal in the capital, and I don't think that's indeliberate. Because if you look at the portraits in Underlords of the characters on the left, they are all very different and have both a fairy and a robot looking thing and a human. So other than the 3 kingdoms ruled by each their merchant king, there is another place, the capital, called Whitespire, where everyone is equal. Where, according to Dota 2 voice lines, people bet at courier races. For anyone who played Dota Auto Chess, you will know that initially it was sort of a courier race battle royale. Everyone played as each their courier. But in Underlords, you now have these new unique characters. And these courier races in Whitespire is a very important piece of evidence of why it's the capital of Revtel, because look at the card Payday. In it, Bounty is talking about Revtel. We know both Bounty Hunter and Dark Willow from the card art have partaken in courier races in Whitespire, but that is not my evidence. What really convinced me was the fact that this card used to be called something different and have a different artwork. This is Day at the Track. Now why would Bounty Hunter be talking about Revtel on an illustration of Whitespire? Because Whitespire is the capital. It's not within either of the merchant kingdoms, it's between all of them, like a hub of degeneracy. Okay, so now that we know what Whitespire is, let's talk about Momma Eeb and the 10 new characters. Meepo from Dota 2 and Artifact is the only one who has mentioned Momma Eeb before Underlords, and they have in the past taken a loan from her to bet on the courier races of Whitespire. They expressed concern that if they can't pay her back she will mess you up, so we know Eeb was a badass. This, among other things from Artifact such as the assassination of Quertheus, is evidence that Underlords is between Artifact and Dota 2 and the timeline of the Dotaverse. Because in Underlords, Momma Eeb is dead, and Whitespire needs a new leader. And now we finally arrive at the candidates, the Underlords. While we can only see 8 of them to the left, there is actually 10 different characters mentioned in hero lores. Anessix, Jull, Enno, Hobgen, Wren, Grek, Turath, Quiet, Onia, and Carl. And I'm sorry to disappoint you, but Carl isn't Invoker. I would talk about them in this order because it's the order in which we have the most information, and the further I get down the list, it will be more and more speculation. There's a few patterns I've noticed. First of all, that they all have very distinct personalities, and second of all, that their allied Dota heroes fit with their personalities. I've also noticed that some characters have a very clear alliance that they favor, which maybe can be a hint of what Underlords will look like in the future when you get to choose an Underlord and maybe get a bonus to, for example, demons or fire units. So let's start from the top. Anessix is one of the 4 who we see on the homepage, and she is a demon. She is referred to as the Mistress of Secrets, and among her hero allies are Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend, Terrorblade, Doom, Necrophos, and maybe Razor and Warlock. It's clear she is not just a demon, she is also allied with them, as well as the Court of Ristal. In one lore snippet, she is referred to as an earthbound demon, which could mean she is something similar to Queen of Pain. Was summoned once from hell and is now stuck on Earth. She's not close friends with Queen of Pain, but they know each other, which I think is really cool. She is mad at Warlock for not keeping his mouth shut, so it could be they aren't allies. But if they are, it's possible that she will give a bonus to the Demon and Warlock alliances, since she is affiliated with Necrophos. Keywords for anessix is a demon with secrets. Jull is also one of the 4, and he is very likely of the same kind as Tusk. This is even more evident by the fact that they knew each other in the past. His other allies include Slark and Slardar, and maybe Crystal Maiden. This means that he is probably allied to people from the cold regions, including Ice Rack and Cobalt, and also, if my speculations about Kray's placement is correct, he is also allied with the Sunken Cities. This means the Slytherin and Walrus Bears. I think it could mean a bonus to the Scaly Alliance, which used to be called Naga in Dota Auto Chess, despite Medusa not being a Slytherin. And also Slardar, Slark, and Tidehunter kind of don't get along, so there's a few problems with this. I think he will probably have more bonuses than just Scaly, maybe to ice-specific units, but with the few hints we have, this is the only theory I have. But one last thing about Jull, I think he might be in the shipping industry, or more specifically a smuggler. He is from the North and Sea and has been concerned about Sand King destroying his tunnels underground, and fantasizing about transporting goods in Gyrocopter's ship. He is also a bootlegger, which means distributing alcohol illegally. So instead of smuggling weed, maybe he smuggles whiskey? I don't know. Either way, keywords for Jull is Walrus Bear, Whiskey, Gangster. If you want to know more about the North and the Sunken Cities, watch my Dota Geography series. Enno, who is actually called Kessen, is the one of the 4 who says the least. He apparently rules all pickpockets and scavengers. I'm unable to identify what he is exactly, because he doesn't look like any creature I've seen in the Dotaverse thus far. And trust me, I've looked at every courier and animal in every Dota 2 landscape. But what we do know is that he is an ally of nature. His allied heroes include Tiny, Beastmaster, Nature's Prophet, Treant's Protector, and probably Enchantress and maybe Lone Druid. He never speaks himself in the hero lore snippets, but the other Underlords talk about him, often with disdain. While Jull and anessix, for instance, seem to have some respect for each other, everyone seems to think Kessen is a little turd. And Hobgen even called Timbersaw specifically to cut trees. But he is of course my favorite, as a fellow tree hugger and contrarian. I think he will probably give a bonus to druids, but since Tiny and Beastmaster have no alliance in common, it's hard to tell what else he might do. Maybe specific with healing or summoning? Another interesting thing about Kessen is that he is known as the king of the Warrens, which means literally interconnecting rabbit burrows. So maybe he controls a bunch of small thieves who pop out of holes and steal and scavenge? A different meaning of Warrens, though, is a densely populated building or district. So I don't know, interpret it as you like. Keywords for Kessen, who is not actually called Enno, is pickpocket vegan. Hobgen, the smug high school anime villain, is the last of the 4 and was Momma Eeb's most feared lieutenant. He is a fairy, the same kind as Dark Willow and her father Lord Sunbreeze, and so he is likely from the same place as them. Speaking of, Hobgen is actually in love with Dark Willow. Whether it's her charming accent or the fact that she burned her father's estate down, Hobgen has eyes for her only. It's hard to say exactly what his type is though, because he is also crushing on Medusa. Hobgen is a pyromaniac and arsonist, which is obvious when you look at his allies. Batrider, Lena, Alchemist, Techies, Chaos Knight, Witch Doctor, and Puck. Most of them are mischievous agents of chaos, just like Hobgen, and Puck is likely his ally because they are both fays. Hobgen talks a lot and loves everything fire and chaos. He is like a beautiful mix of Dark Willow and Batrider, and it comes as no surprise that he has a lot of love for both of them. Keywords for him is chaotic, arsonist fairy, smug anime villain. Wren is the first character of the 10 we don't know exactly what looks like. But I have my theories. If you look at all the images on the left in-game, there's a female human character. And Wren has a lot of human allies, as well as being a very important character. So I doubt she isn't one of the 8 we have images of, and I also doubt she is the robot-looking femoid. Yes, she is extremely important because she is no less than Momma Eeb's daughter and seeks revenge for her death. 2 of her allies also seem to have known Eeb because she asks Kunkka and Lycan to help her avenge her mother. Lycan is particularly interesting because his father was killed by none other than the late king of Slum, Quirtheus. While not mentioned in the lore and Underlords, Beastmaster is also likely to be Wren's ally, as he partook in the assassination of Quirtheus, and he is also brawny. He set the king's animals free, while Phantom Assassin killed him during the chaos. Other allies include Axe, Windrunner, Disruptor, Dragon Knight, Mirana, and Templar Assassin. So other than Templar Assassin, Axe, and Disruptor, she seems to only have human-looking allies. Windrunner is interesting, because if that really is Wren in the pic, they look similar. I don't know if that means anything, but I doubt they are related, because they met while Wren was out and about traveling. Wren is the captain of a motley crew, which means a crew of very different individuals. Here they likely refer to our allies, who other than being humanoid are very different. She is also a friend of Dragon Hold, which is likely where Dragon Knight is from. This makes me suspect she will give bonuses to humans and maybe dragons. Also maybe brawny and perhaps elusive. Keywords for Wren is Momma Eeb's wanderlusty daughter. Grek is another we don't have a picture of, but I think he is most likely the troll-looking fellow. He is a scummy, histrionic piece of shit, so he would probably be a YouTuber if he lived in our world today. He is a snake oil salesman, which means he sells crap that he is fully aware of is a scam. He also has a show in which he regrets having allowed Keens to have the opening act. He also notes that people love blood, so maybe it's the type of show we have seen in the Monkey King comic. 2 people fighting? Or maybe just a violent theatrical play? He also seems to be very charismatic, which is fitting for showbiz. His allies include Bloodseeker, Drow Ranger, Shadow Shaman, Juggernaut, Luna, Medusa, and maybe Sniper. I don't see a clear pattern in the alliances of his picks, so I don't know what bonus he would give. Keywords for Grek is con artist, showman. Turath is very mysterious, and so this is 100% gut feeling, but I think he is the fellow with the impressive facial hair. To me he looks like some sort of Slytherin maybe, but he could be anything. If he was from the Sunken Cities or Ice Rack, I think there would have been more interaction between him and Jull, and he would favor heroes that align with that, so I think he, like Enno, is something we maybe haven't seen before. He is described as the cryptic prophet, destroyer of light, and Tyler Estate refugee, so he is likely a wizard of sorts, and the bad kind. His allies are all heroes that in Dota 2 are either not of this planet, plane, or universe, possesses strong faith in the divine, or has completely messed up their appearance and powers with evil magic. They include Lich, Venomancer, Morphling, Arcwarden, Enigma, and Omniknight. One interesting thing about him is that Anti-Mage is chasing him, and he is a Tyler Estate refugee. The Tyler Estate is the prison in Weeping Rose for dark magicians who have abused magic, and the Anti-Mage works for them to track down criminals. Jull has also said that he needs to find out if Crystal Maiden is here for him or Turath. Whether he means as an ally or enemy, I don't know, but to me it seems like he means that Crystal Maiden is hunting either one or both of them. That makes sense, as Crystal Maiden helps the Sapphire Conclave in hunting down mages who abuse their powers outside of Weeping Rose. My theory is that Crystal Maiden for that reason is the enemy of both Jull and Turath, and that they are both from the north, which explains Turath's appearance after all. I think Turath is very interesting, and I can't wait to get to know more about him. He seems to favor primordials, maybe warlocks, and maybe mages. The keyword for him is mysterious evil wizard. Quiet is almost definitely the feminoid robot character we see to the left. We don't know much about her, but we do know some things about Ironfog, which is likely where she is from. By likely, I mean almost definitely. She has said to Viper that she too knows what it's like to be a slave, and Ironfog is known for using slavery as labor force. She is referred to as a heretical automaton, which suggests that maybe automaton is the name of her race. It also suggests that she has rebelled against Ironfog and the Merchant King the Brass Herald, as she is heretical and talks about slavery being in her past. She also tells Troll Warlord she is efficient and relentless, probably here just because robots are. She seems to be allied with Clockwork, and Clock, among other keens such as Tinker and the entire Alliance Inventors, are in general very robotic. So I think she will probably give a bonus to Inventors, or Scrappy, or both. Keywords for Quiet is former slave robot girl. Onia or Onaya or Onie is likely not one of the 8 we have pictures of. If she is the one I assigned to Wren, the humanoid with the hat. She is a banished merchant of Revtel, which makes sense because 1, she seems like an asshole, and 2, she seems to know how to be efficient with money and investments. She is definitely wealthy and also very paranoid. She is concerned about Solk, the Society of Like-Men and Keenfolk, which is an organization founded by Sniper and Mazzy from Artifact, which seeks to unite Keens. She is also afraid of getting assassinated by a phantom assassin, since PA assassinated Quertheus, the merchant king of Slum. This worries her because Onia is probably an unethical merchant, similarly evil and scummy like Quertheus, the Brasserold and Lord Sumbreeze. Why she got banished though, I have no idea. Her allies include Bounty Hunter, Ogre Magi, and Abaddon. Abaddon likely because he is from the House of Avernus, which is likely residing in Revtel. And wealthy merchants likes important families. I don't know. Also have no clue what her bonus would be, maybe to gold in some way. Keywords for Onia is wealthy, unethical, merchant. Carl we know very little about. He is only mentioned in 2 hero texts, Viper and Pudge, but in both he seems to be a tailor. He wants to make a coat out of Viper, and he seems to be friends with Pudge. I think he might be a zombie from the Fields of Endless Carnage, very similar to Pudge. Maybe him and Pudge has worked together in the past, where Pudge has butchered bodies and then Carl makes clothing from their skins. No idea. But I think he will probably favor the Heartless Alliance, since it was called Undead in Dota Auto Chess. This would be a bit ironic though, since Necrophos, who is heartless, is part of the reason why the Fields of Endless Carnage was purged by the faithful of the Remesk religion. Whether this happened before or after Underlords, I don't know, but my guess is after. Keywords for Carl is Undead Tailor. So that's all the 10 Underlords, and after thinking a little bit, what I think each Underlord will determine when you pick them is what alliance items you get. If you for example take anessix, you will get the demon and warlock items, and if you take Enno, you maybe get the druid, savage or summon ones. Maybe if you take Onia, you will get items that affect your gold specifically, rather than a particular alliance. Maybe you don't get the items up front, but they are the ones which are offered to you. Who knows, that's just my speculation. If I'm right, then picking Quiet might give you the assassin item and Enno the shaman one, because they are mentioned in the item's lore text. By the way, I have no clue who Zenok the Whitespire fence is. It's the one narrating the items, and for that reason I assume it's just Underlord's shopkeeper, like the big guy in Dota 2 and Jolixia in Artifact. There's also the one mentioned in Dragonite's lore called Kaden. No idea who that is, but he might be the leader of Dragonhold, which we also know nothing about. Now before I end the video, I just have one more thing. In my Call to Arms video about Revtel, I said that Weeping Rose is the capital of Revtel, and then in the next Call to Arms episode I said how that is incorrect. But I never really gave a proper explanation of what was incorrect and what instead is correct, so here it is in case you want it cleared up. So what I said in my Revtel video was that first of all, Weeping Rose is the kingdom that Lord Sumbreeze rules over, and second of all that it is the capital of Revtel. But then Steve Jaros, the writer of the Dotaverse, corrected me in an email. Weeping Rose is not in Revtel. And after looking back at the lore, I realized that 1. Lord Sumbreeze is not the king of Weeping Rose. We don't actually know what the fairy kingdom is called. And 2, that even if it was, it would not be the capital, because the capital of Revtel is neither of the 3 big kingdoms ruled by the merchant kings. So Weeping Rose and the Tyler estate is independent of and has nothing to do with Revtel, Whitespire, and the merchant kings. For this reason I will probably remake episode 3 and 4 of Call to Arms in the future, but until then, I hope this explained it better. Feel free to ask if you're confused. Okay, so that's it for all we know about the Underlore so far. I will definitely make more vids about this game as the game evolves, so I hope to see you around for that. I have many other lore videos about the Dotaverse on my channel, so if you like lore and want to understand every detail about Dota, make sure to check them out. Thanks for watching, have a wonderful day. Peace.